Well, thanks very much. Can I first say I was very excited to be here. I flew back from China. Great honour to be here at the Whitlam Institute. And I was telling Nick Whitlam before that when I published my first ever book, I got very excited about it, and I sent a copy to Gough. And he rang up Austrade and said to the switchboard, "It's Gough Whitlam here." And they said, "Yeah, sure you are," and hung up, thinking it was a crank. But he tracked me down and he put on my mobile phone, "It's Gough Whitlam here. I've got your new book and I've enjoyed it, but on page 143 there's a split infinitive and I'd like to take you through it." So I was very much honoured. When you sum up, it's hard. All your well-rehearsed anecdotes and gags that you can pretend are very spontaneous, you can't use. There's no PowerPoint. And in some ways, though, you have an advantage, and I have this advantage of knowing absolutely nothing about each topic in equal proportions. So I think that helps. We started with Mike Baird, the New South Wales opposition treasurer. They say 90% of life is just showing up, and I thought pretty good effort of Mike Baird to turn up and speak at the Whitlam Institute, Western Sydney, a great Labor figure. And that shows that he really does have a great commitment to bipartisanship and good public policy. He also might be very, very, very confident about the election result too, that he's managed to do that. He had three important points. One, in terms of government policy, economic imperative and community need, he wanted to take politics out of the process, which in the words of that great AFL philosopher Dennis Cometti, that's ambitious. He said it was important to have a sense of public value, make all ministers accountable, not just Premier and Cabinet. And also he wanted a culture that every dollar counts. He also made, I thought, a very interesting point that we often make these great predictions. For instance, before the turn of the century, people made great predictions about how financial innovation and the internet would change forever and make us recession-proof globally forever. I remember when I joined Austrade, about that time, I think when Mike was talking about in 98, 99, and people were very much into the fads of .com, the internet, casual dressing at work and so on. And a McKinsey consultant rewrote one of my papers. I was talking about the future of the Australian economy and our engagement with the world, and the McKinsey consultant said, "Let's just change that, cross it all out," and they wrote, "Australia's future as a commodity exporter is over." And of course, they got paid still, but they offer that advice. And I think that demonstrated Mike's point when he quoted that great Canadian philosopher Wayne Gretzky, that you skate to where the puck is going, not where it's been, which Nicholas Gruen told me is actually the Zeno paradox, but Wayne Gretzky sounded pretty good. And I think that's a sign of globalisation when a domestic Australian politician will quote a Canadian ice hockey player as part of his repertoire. We've come a long way. The second session, two fine minds in economics, Andrew Lee and Nicholas Gruen. I don't think Andrew's here now, but I was actually thrilled this year that Andrew won pre-selection for Fraser. Having a very original, creative thinker like Andrew in the National Parliament will be terrific, and perhaps Christopher Joye could follow him from the other side of the fence. That would be very good for Australia. Andrew's paper, well, growth is good, it makes us happy, as Justin Wolfers shows. He talked about the new agenda, firstly the first agenda of reducing tariffs and flooding the dollar under Hawke and Keating to open up the economy, secondly competition policy, and the third wave being information. He used some important examples from schools, random pharmaceutical trials, and also employment predictions. I actually thought his point on schools was perhaps confused, I think because he'd shocked us with the data and also shamed us by us all failing that test. His main point was lost. I think he was saying that numeracy and literacy matter, but also the values of the school matters as well. I was thinking today when I was talking to Nick Whitlam earlier, the school I went to, Unley High School, where Julia Gillard, of course, graduated from, when I was at school, when Julia was at school, there were three mothers running for the Labor Party in Parliament, Rosemary Crowley, Anne Levy, and also my mother in 1968. In fact, my mother, when she ran for Parliament in 1968, was pregnant with my younger sister. And the journalist said, "What are you going to do if you win?" She said, "Well, I'll have the baby." It's a bit late now. But I think, that was, of course, at the insistence of Gough and Don Dunstan that there be more women in Parliament, and I think that would have formed some of the values of the school that Julia went and thus impacted on her future. I thought Andrew's principle again of people making predictions on demographics, on where the hot jobs are going to be and how that fared. That was actually, in some ways, Andrew with his own research demonstrating the Wayne Gretzky example very, very well.